All right, so without further delay, let's get this started. Thank you everybody for joining us this morning for the Aimsio and ADP webinar on seamless payroll, how to transform field time tracking and really bring a ton of efficiency to this entire process. So we're excited today to be sharing this with you. My name is Dennis Hale. I'm the VP of Sales here with Aimsio. Been with our organization now for going on 7 years, and incredibly excited about everything that we are doing here to bring operational excellence to field-centric businesses, specifically in oil and gas services and construction. I'm joined this morning by Eric Webb, who's going to say quick hello as well.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here.
And Eric's just going to help us with the moderation and everything because we got a lot to cover, and he can help manage that Q&A box. So we more than anything here at Aimsio are excited about our just cause, right? It's a little bit more than our mission statement. It's something that we really do believe in our core, and that is helping hardworking people build the future through operational excellence. And operational excellence can mean a lot of different things for people. And in our world, it often means the revenue that moves from field business or field operations to an invoice being tracked accurately and moving through quickly. But it also means payroll, which is a key component, not just for paying these hardworking individuals, but also for understanding your costs. So since payroll is such a huge part of operational excellence, we really wanted to make sure we brought in the best of the best here today. So I'd like to introduce over to you now, James Hunter, who's with ADP, and I'll let you say some words as well there, James.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dennis. I appreciate you inviting me here today, and very excited to be here as well. So, guys, those who don't know me, my name is James Hunter. I am a district manager for ADP Canada. I've been with the company now for coming up to 4 years. Why was I selected for this Aimsio partnership? A couple of reasons. One being, local to Dennis and the team here as well, but for two, I was sort of the catalyst, one of the first district managers to work with Aimsio on building a custom integration. There was a Regina-based firm, and I'll just share this quick story. There's a Regina-based firm who specializes in geomatics and land surveying. The big target, again, to Dennis's point, was oil and gas, pipelines, infrastructure, the things you guys do day in and day out. They really struggled with importing field time into their current payroll system. There was many line items for about 300 plus employees that they had to dissect each and every payroll run, which was causing them a ton of manual entry and a ton of headaches. What we did is we came in and we created a custom integration to then capture that time information and collect it and put it into ADP's time solution to then, calculate the overtime and stat calculations to seamlessly do payroll without having to touch or manually import anything, which was pretty special for these guys, saving them countless hours each and every payroll run, which was great. Obviously from there, we started seeing Aimsio more and more in the marketplace, which is, credit to Dennis and the team here for really expanding their reach. I talked to my professional services team. We then got together with the Aimsio team to create the custom integration that we're going to speak more about today. So very excited to be here, guys.
Yeah, and you guys got that, spun up pretty fast too, didn't you, James? I recall, the process. It's certainly my recent memory, and I was surprised at how quickly you guys can move. So you guys have a pretty solid professional services team that can execute fast, don't you?
Yeah, one of the best parts is one of our directors of our professional services team sits right across from me in our office. So it made it pretty easy to get to the right people really quickly and show that, this is a very valuable thing and for them to pursue it really quickly. So
nice. Yeah, that proximity helps a lot for sure. So over the next 30 minutes or 26 minutes or so, we are going to cover a few key things that hopefully will highlight just a few major issues around where the market is today in terms of payroll processing, what that state is, how the Aimsio and ADP partnership works, really understanding what that workflow is like all the way from the field to a paycheck. And then we'll get into some of the details about the Aimsio ADP connector itself, and then hopefully have a few minutes at the end for Q&A and talk about some next steps. So without further delay, I just wanted to essentially address the elephant in the room, which is, how many hours are processed in North America alone in heavy industry? And that's a 24 billion hour problem. right? 24 billion hours. This is obviously a little, just a little approximation, if you will, of this market because there's so many facets to it. But we did pull these stats specifically to get an understanding about the size and the scale of this issue. So these hours are moving through these heavy industrial sectors. Obviously, Aimsio and ADP, we're not transacting all 24 billion of these hours, but we're certainly making a pretty good dent in them. And the idea is to bring as much connection as possible to office and crew members so that this can happen as seamlessly as possible. So to kind of illuminate a little bit more about the state of the market, I'm going to pass back to James and have him share some interesting stats with us.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. So obviously, integrated systems are a key piece to managing your employees and your business. Now, however, data is pretty limited in terms of how many customers or how many people are using integrated systems. But insights suggest that a notable portion of businesses, particularly in the small to medium enterprises, are operating with non-integrated systems today. Without adequate time collection methods, studies are also indicating that the average employee misappropriates around 1 to 4 hours per employee per week, which is
Wow.
a lot of cost to organizations' bottom line. A quick survey by Intuit QuickBooks found that 35% of small businesses in North America spend at least one extra day on payroll tasks outside of payroll processing per week, which is another staggering stat as well. Also, merged stat from the Canadian and American Payroll Association is that utilizing combined timekeeping and payroll systems are 44% likely to remain at a 2% error rate or less when processing, whereas companies that are using manual entry and more traditional systems are seeing upwards of 8% in payroll errors. These errors can cause huge financial impacts to your business. Also, administrative burdens for those of you on the call that are processing, and not to mention you're putting your risk of your business's reputation and providing a risk to providing a poor employee experience as well, which is something that isn't really quantifiable, but it can show up in your turnover data for sure. Now,
Yeah, interesting.
it's a very common thing that definitely we see from an ADP standpoint because we deal in that HR space a lot. So then the last thing I want
so
to
I'm
talk.
curious, but just sorry to interject here quickly. I know we got a poll queued up as well, Eric. If you wouldn't mind, so many of the companies we interact with are spending countless hours, and they struggle with this processing lag. So I'm just curious, by the poll, are you, a few days, a few hours, still processing for 2024? Just interesting to hear everybody's perspective on this as well. Yeah, it looks like a lot, mostly in that kind of 3 to 5 day range. A few that are more than 5. Interesting. So good stats here to kind of back up what you're just saying, James.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to talk too a little bit about while the numbers are still coming in, I'd like to talk about that increase of adoption of integration that's we're looking at 2025. Now, like specific percentages of adoption rates are not readily available, but tons of indicators are showing that this trend is continuing in North America. Like just take the time collection market was valued at 1.01 billion in 2022, and it's projected to hit almost 6 billion in 2030, which is a massive increase over 8 years. In 2024, like 57% of organizations in North America reported using a single source or a single integrated system for processing payroll, whereas in 2023, it was roughly around 44%. The last thing I'll share too is, companies implementing payroll software have observed a time savings of 37%, underscoring the efficiency and benefits of an integrated system as well. So you're seeing massive cost reduction not when you do have these integrated pieces. So
unbelievable. It's so important to have this seamlessness happening all the way from field into payroll. So that's interesting stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about the partnership itself.
Absolutely. So what does that mean for Aimsio clients? Now, this partnership allows you the opportunity to eliminate siloed systems within your organization and have a fully integrated suite of products from payroll, time, and HR. ADP also offers post-payroll services, which offer significant value, enhancing that your client's efficiency and accuracy when processing. It also helps with the HR processes as well, which we're going to talk to a little bit more when we talk about the integration itself. Obviously, the key benefits are staying ahead of government compliance, wage garnishments, etc. By leveraging post-payroll services, it alleviates all those administrative burdens that we talk about on a day in a day out basis.
Mm-hmm.
As well, if you have complex regulations, I know some of your industries for sure have very complex regulations, and you're also, again, you're providing that better experience to your employees. Integrated systems also, they reduce the cost of the organization by eliminating time theft, reducing risk, reducing turnover, all things that you're going to hear more and more about throughout this presentation. So, and removing manual data entry is always a plus for organizations limited on time and resources. So,
Right. Yeah, I've been into some offices in the past where they have quite literally I think it was more than 10 payroll individuals that are just kind of processing payroll. So the administrative burden that they were experiencing every single month was just wild. And they were large, but not gigantic, right? I think that's the key piece here, is to figure out ways to grow your business without growing that overhead.
that's
Right. So it's
right.
not so much
Yeah,
about removing, individuals and replacing them. It's about, allowing that growth to happen without having to also expand that overhead piece. It's really important.
of course.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about who is ADP. Those of you who aren't familiar with us, we have a most complete set of enterprise solutions, from standalone technology to outsourcing solutions to support your business. We can support you in a number of different ways. From the technology front, obviously, we've got a full suite of technology products, anything to manage your employees from life cycle, from hire to retire. We support your organization by providing outsourcing solutions where we can provide, payroll processing. We can add people to your HR to support your HR initiatives. And last piece that's a little bit different than some of the competitors that we have is we have a full line of compliance solutions and post-payroll services that some others don't have. But using some of those solutions eliminates your need for EFTs or bank fees, remitting to governing bodies, third-party wage garnishments. We can support you on your behalf as well. So some key benefits, obviously, to using our solution.
Yeah, I love that. And just for folks that don't know, can you just maybe explain a little bit more about, Workforce Now, the product, just kind of give a little bit more context about what that actually looks or feels like for them.
Yeah. So again, as those who are familiar with a full HRIS solution, we have that full suite of products so that you can, onboard your employees, that you can recruit your employees, you can learn and develop your employees, you can manage them through performance and compensation tools, you can track their time if need be. With Aimsio, you can do that as well, and we can also obviously process payroll. ADP solutions were built on the foundation of payroll, but since we've noticed that trend, we've really expanded our research and development into the HR side of the business, and we're really thriving in that space as well. The other part is
Nice.
the outsourcing service is a lot different than some of our competitors have as well, where we talk about overhead, correct? Sometimes you just need to get some of those I don't want to call it not value driven tasks, but sometimes payroll can be that daunting task that is just especially nowadays, it's very hard to hire for. We have that support option for individuals that are on this call as well, which is a little different offering than some of our market competitors. So,
Do you see the heavy industrial sector, like construction, oil and gas, needing that kind of service more or less than other sectors?
And we talked about this prior to the call about, ADP sort of, industry agnostic, right? We kind of work with everybody, but yeah, some of the trends that we're seeing are we're seeing our services being needed in pulled in all sorts of different areas, but the outsourcing side of our business is very interesting, and we're seeing some major growth in that area, just due to the fact that these positions are hard to hire for. Payroll positions there not many people are entering the market to become payroll practitioners, which I'm sure some of the people on this call can relate to in some of their businesses, where they're seeing sort of the same trends. We're seeing the cost of those positions rise, and the competitive nature of those positions to hire is crazy. So yeah, some pretty crazy stuff going on there. But from industry specific, yes, we're seeing it all across the map.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so let's hear a little bit more about ADP in terms of the numbers, because for those that are familiar, this may be common knowledge, but for others, I mean, some of these statistics are quite frankly very impressive. So why don't you kind of run us through that?
Yeah, so we've been around for roughly 75 years and counting, processing payroll. We've just last year in 2024, we reached over 1 million clients globally, which is huge. It's a massive feat, a massive accomplishment to ADP. One of the big pieces on this slide that we're sharing is our average client tenure is 12 plus years. You become an ADP client, you're going to stay with us for a long, long time, just due to the nature and the efforts that we put forth to our customer service and retention. So some big stats there, but yeah, we are one of the beasts in the payroll space and the HR space, and we're going to continue growing and continue pushing that client list way up there. So it's pretty interesting, some of these stats that we can share with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And that 1 in 6 employees every month in North America piece, that's remarkable to think that,
from a
that's how
market
many
share,
people are seeing that.
yeah, from a market share perspective, ADP is touching your payroll, at least 1 in 6 of you in North America, and it's even smaller in Canada. So
Yeah, that's impressive. All right, so let's get into this kind of workflow from the field and really illustrate what seamless payroll can look like, right? It's nice to know that there are these components, and you've got an industry leader like ADP. You've got Aimsio as well coming together to try and connect this all so that your processing times can always be just a couple of hours and not multiple days, and also be done in a way that is truly efficient. In a way that is truly accurate and quick, right? Those are all the three key things you really want to make sure happen. So, um, for anybody using Aimsio, the idea is to have a single entry point of time. And that could be done by a crew member out in the field, remotely working in, a well site way out in the middle of nowhere, or it could be done through people in the office if they're entering time for, shop time or anything like that. But the point is to bring that information into a system, into a process, so that you don't need to do again and again or move it around again and again. It's just that single point of entry. What that does, it allows everything downstream of that to become more of an audit than an administration, right? So you enter that time at source. The next step in that, of course, will be to approve those hours. So somebody's job will still be to have that oversight. Doesn't matter how automated and digital these things are, there's often still going to be a need to have somebody that actually looks at those hours and says, yeah, Dennis was on that job site for 10 hours today. So you'll never get past that. So we want to make sure that that is simplified. From that point on, once it's approved, well, now it can move through the payroll rules specific for that individual, for the jurisdiction that they're working in, for the union that they're a part of. And those rules are actually baked into Aimsio. At the same time, on a different path, those hours can follow a billing workflow and follow that all the way through to your field ticket and to your invoice. But focusing here today, of course, on that payroll side, we want to automatically split those hours. And once we've done that, so in the example of me working for 10 hours, it may mean that there's 8 hours regular time and 2 hours overtime. That automation needs to happen seamlessly. And then we finally hand it over to the ADP connector. So for those of you that aren't familiar on the call with how this works inside of Aimsio, so this is actually pulled out of our time cards module, and you can establish these rules for the specific jurisdiction or union that your crew operate in. This example here, maybe there's a maximum regular time of 8 hours, maximum overtime of 4 hours. Maybe the specific weekends are overtime, things like that. So you establish these rules, and then it's a set it and forget it, right? Once you set it and forget it, you pull in all of the hours. So you just essentially look for the results. You get the results of every hour that was entered into the system over the course of a specific period of time. At that stage, you're then splitting those hours up automatically. So you can see how, for example, 8 and 2 for Albert the welder, right? Albert the welder probably just entered in 10 hours, or he did enter in 10 hours in his mobile device when he was on a job site, and that got split automatically into that 8 and 2. Now, of course, this is just a very basic example. There's other things that happen in terms of double time and bonuses and all kinds of stuff that's all configured within Aimsio. And the point here is not just to drive payroll accuracy, but it's to drive cost accuracy, right? The cost accuracy is something that is going to be majorly important for your business in order to understand your margins and your profits, your performance on a specific job, how close you are to budget versus actual, and all those key metrics, right? So it animates the system in so many ways. And this is that final stage. Now that you've pulled them out, you've processed this particular time card period, then you're going to pull it out and export it and send it through the connector. And I'll let James explain a little bit more about how that connector actually works.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's a couple different flavors when it comes to collecting your time data. So for example, in Dennis's example there, most of the work is done within Aimsio's timesheet workflow. And then what that is done is through our connector, it's automatically uploaded directly into ADP's payroll engine for processing. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. However, depending on the flavor that you have within Aimsio, if you need certain calculations done, part of the connector we've created is impound time data. So we can collect raw data. We can then put it into our essential time module for then post payroll calculations, OTs and stats, etc. So something that some of you guys are already doing. And then another option, if you aren't doing that or don't have that functionality set up within Aimsio, our connector can handle that. The real cool thing about this ADP connector, it has a third component. Using ADP Workforce Now as your system of record for employee data, for onboarding, etc. What the other part of this connector can do is push employee data directly into Aimsio, eliminating that manual data entry from said HR system or system of record to Aimsio and then back, so the whole purpose of this thing was to get rid of any sort of manual entry from your system and show you that complete integration for your organization.
Yeah, that's a major game changer. And just to help everybody understand too the importance of the flow in as well as the flow out, that flow in allows that accuracy to happen, right? It allows that consistency to happen. So, Dennis Hale, the worker, is coming in from ADP and my name is correct, right? And these little pieces that ensure that my hours as they get back to ADP are also matched up to the correct individual. So this flow, this kind of flywheel, if you will, is so important. And kudos to the professional services team for kind of scoping it all out and making sure that that they brought it together so seamlessly. So yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was happy to be one of the catalysts and one of the first to get this thing going. So it's a game changer. You're right.
That's exciting. All right, so let's get into some Q&A. We've got about 6 minutes left. And there was one question here as well from before, which was just specifically about HCSS. So do we integrate with HCSS? So question to answer that most directly, we work very well with other softwares. Obviously we're here with ADP today. We move information in and out of Aimsio quite seamlessly. We don't have anything out of the box right now for that particular platform that you're asking about, but it is certainly within our integrations map, and we will be getting to these additional ones as the need arises, right? So we're always going to, as an organization, prioritize integrations that have the biggest impact, right? And I think this is a great opportunity to just reinforce the fact that this ADP Aimsio integration, this collaboration, this partnership has material impact on the performance of a company's operations, right? It has material impact on how they can become, operationally excellent. So that's why we are prioritizing these ones. And again, it's great to have ADP here helping us with this. What else do we have? So what do we got there, Eric? I'll let you kind of sift through.
Yeah, so Gabriel asks, Does it have the ability to add additional calculations on top of the time entries, and can it be calculated blended OT based on US laws?
Yeah,
Mm,
so that would all get scoped. That would all get scoped through a call with ADP just to understand the requirements that you're speaking of. But short answer is yes, we can calculate that. So again, that would be sort of the flavor of coming into our essential time to do those additional calculations that you might be looking for.
Okay. Awesome.
awesome.
You got one from Brenton here. Which accounting systems does ADP integrate with to push the costed hours back into the accounting system to track P&Ls? Is this done through manual JEs, or is there an easy push from ADP to accounting system?
Yeah, so the short answer is all of them. We have during ADP implementation, we have a GL specialist to then map the general ledger to then import into any accounting system that requires or that can accept a file. For sure. The other piece is there again, our professional services teams can build custom integrations for that data to flow seamlessly from post payroll run directly into your accounting system. It just all depends on what your needs are, what your budgets are, what your so there's a whole different bunch of factors there, but part of the payroll processing piece is that general ledger. We know how important that is. And so we have somebody that will specialize mapping out that charter of accounts to directly flow it into almost every accounting system.
I got one from Chris here. Is this available for customers in the legacy Aimsio environment?
So short answer is we need to dive in a little bit to see exactly how your particular environment was set up, Chris. Contact customer success. So it's customer.success@aimsio.com. And we'd be more than happy to go through a quick assessment here. Most of the time, it shouldn't be an issue, but we do need to double check exactly how your particular instance was configured and take it from there. So yeah, please reach out to our CS team.
Michelle asks, is Aimsio able to dispatch the field workers as well, or does it only collect their time data?
Absolutely, we can dispatch field workers as well. So we do have a dispatching scheduling module that allows you to put your crew members on assigned to a specific job and track and understand those resource allocations. Most importantly, on the equipment side, it tends to be even more meaningful because equipment doesn't need as much holiday time as we humans do. So if you've got a piece of equipment sitting idle and you can have that displayed, it kind of reminds you, subconsciously to put that onto a job and get that working and get that one building revenue. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question there. And we will cap the Q&A for now, just because I want to make sure we get enough time just to finalize everything. But for those of you that didn't get your question answered, we do have so many coming in. We just don't have enough time to answer every single one of them. I absolutely promise we will answer every one of them, and it'll be a follow-up in an email to you guys afterwards, just so we can make sure we kind of stay on track here for timing. But thank you so much for all the questions. I promise we will get back to those answers very, very quickly. So that'll be my job for the rest of the afternoon, is to ensure you guys get your answers. And James too, obviously, if there's questions for ADP too.
Of course.
Sorry, James, I just monopolized the rest of your day today. So.
That's okay. I'm all for it.
Awesome. All right. So just in summary here, just a quick recap, just so everybody knows, what are some of the highlights here? Namely, we want to capture that time at source, right? We want to get that single entry of data into the system, moving through this workflow, moving through to the connector, moving through to a paycheck for your people, and having that happen seamlessly. So it eliminates that redundancy. We want to follow those multiple payroll rules or costing rules or billing rules. Compliance, James, just remind us again on the compliance side, just kind of what does that mean exactly? Like, how is that improved compliance so prescient for these folks?
Yeah, just making sure that you're up to date on all the government regulations and processing rules. Again, having post payroll services to ensure government remittances are on time and accurate, as well as third-party garnishments that you might need. And obviously, we move money on your behalf, so it eliminates that the fees and money transfers through banking and whatnot. So ADP,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit different offering that's out there than other competitors. So.
Awesome. And then, yeah, of course, reduce the costs, so that administrative burden or those errors that could be very costly. Ultimately growing your business without growing overhead, right? More billable hours, less non-billable hours. Like that's kind of the name of the game here. And of course, increase that payroll accuracy, reduce disputes, hit that bullseye so that you don't have to be pulling your hair out weeks after payroll to fix some kind of an error. So lots of different ways that this can positively impact your business. Again, we're incredibly excited to be partnered up here with ADP to try and bring this all together in a single kind of space for everybody on this call. So in terms of next steps, obviously, you can get in touch with us. So contact Aimsio. You can reach out sales@aimsio.com, customer success at aimsio.com if you're an existing customer. You can reach out to James directly, right? James, anything else you want to add in terms of context here or outreach for next steps for folks?
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free, if you have any other additional questions, feel free to contact me directly. I will say that this Aimsio connector is published on our marketplace currently. So if you are an ADP client that is interested in going through this, that is published already. We're working on the US instance currently, but it's going to be published imminently as well. But obviously the Aimsio folks will be your direct point of contact if you're an Aimsio client, and then they know how to reach out to me for further investigation. So yeah, very happy to be part of this for you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. And as I said in the beginning, a recording will be sent out to everybody. Please feel free to watch it as much as you'd like. Share it with all your colleagues, like and subscribe, as they all say. Yeah, hopefully we were able to deliver some insights and value for everybody here today. We really thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing so much of your day with us. And hope you all have a very successful rest of your week. And we'll speak again soon. So, James, thank you. Eric, thank you. Appreciate you guys' time. And
Thanks, everybody.
we'll talk to everyone soon.
You bet.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.